I looked at the photo on the girl's phone, a branded bag worth nearly 10,000, exquisite and compact in design. That amount of money was not a big deal to me, but why did I have to buy it for her? When I first woke up, I thought I was dreaming. It was not until Chu Mong Kiet came and knocked on the table, telling me to buy her a handbag, that I realized I had returned to the past. The girl's name was Chu Mong Kiet, my desk mate, the top student in the social science department, the person everyone praised and pursued. As for me, who was I, always at the bottom of the class, relying on my rich cheeks to be a piece of mud that couldn't be plastered on walls? Why did Chu Mong Kiet order me around so blatantly? Well, not only because she was a student genius and I needed to copy homework, but also because of the person I liked. Lu Ka was her childhood friend, the top student in the science department. Lu Ka has very high standards, thinks himself noble, looks down on girls like me, only knows how to rely on family studies poorly, but he has never refused the gifts I give, even hints at what he likes. And I try to please him and buy him everything. Even my childhood friend, I also please her. It's funny, in the end, people still don't consider me anything. 10 years ago, Trong Can Can was really a rich fool, but the current Trong Can Can, after all she has been through, is no longer that kind of person. I raised my head and glanced at Chu Mong Kiet. The new iPhone in her hand wasn't it just bought for her, she really thinks I'm a stupid spender. Chu Mong Kiet thought I couldn't hear, so he walked over. Trong Can Can. I'm talking to you. Do you still want to take extra classes with Lu Ka this week? I'm out of money. How can that be? Don't you have tens of thousands of pocket money every month? When you run out of money, you run out of money. Don't you know that in your heart? Just last week you were still asking me to buy that new phone. How much is this phone worth? Don't lie to me. Chu Mengji looked at me angrily. Zhang Qingqing, you dare to talk to me like this? Then don't even think about me taking you to see Luke Carr this week. Every time she said that, before I was scared and confused, but now there was no threat at all. Whatever, I didn't look back, but in my mind I could clearly imagine Chu Mengjie's face red with anger. I left the classroom. Chu Mengjie didn't chase after me because the bell had already rung. She was a standard 3-star student. There was no way she would skip class. As for me, I was already at the bottom of the class. Skipping class happened like a daily meal. Seeing her was too familiar. I didn't mention it anymore. Leaving Chu Mengjie, the world seemed much quieter. I walked towards the gym and thought about why I had returned to the past. I vaguely remembered that I had jumped off a building and committed suicide. That's right, it was suicide. Because 10 years later, my family's company encountered a serious financial crisis. My parents were so worried that they had a car accident and died. At that time, I disobeyed them and chose the music major that I liked leading too. No one managing the company, eventually going bankrupt, still owing hundreds of billions. So I jumped off the building, but unexpectedly when I woke up, I had returned to 10 years ago. During those 10 years, I regretted it countless times. Why didn't I study hard in high school? Even though Chu Mengji and her group helped me review for several months. Thanks to the power of money, my exam results were only enough to pass an average private school. My parents wanted me to study abroad in finance, but I stubbornly chose music. Now I have returned to the past. For the sake of my parents' lives, for the survival of my family, for the company not to go bankrupt, I must study properly. I am having a headache thinking about how to study hard again. After all, I have abandoned my books for 10 years. Then a basketball fell from the sky and hit me right in the head. It hurt so much. I don't know when I walked all the way to the gym. At this time, a tall male student ran over. He was a classmate of Luke Carr. Because I used to wait for Luke Carr in front of their classroom, I recognized most of their faces. The only thing is, I also know that they all laughed at me behind my back, saying that I was stupid and rich. A lovesick little hound. I only heard him laughing and saying, "Wow, little sister Can Can came to find your brother Luke Carr again." Then he whistled towards the football field, saying loudly, "Luke Carr, little sister Can Can came to find you again. You guys play first, wait for me a moment." Then I saw a tall, thin, elegant young man walking towards me, his face full of anger. Zhang Qingqing, I told you right. Don't stick to me in school anymore, especially when I'm studying. Don't you understand human language? In front of me was a young man with sweat on his forehead, fair skin, delicate features, a perfect, handsome guy. But when talking to me, he never held back. Indeed, in my previous life, I had stuck to him too much, trying every way to make him agree to date me. After all, I was a rich young lady from childhood to adulthood. I had never been rejected by anyone. He was the first person, and because of that, I was born with a strong interest. People often say the more you can't have, the more precious it is. But later, when the feelings faded, I saw clearly the nature of this person, fake cold. Now, looking back to the past, I realized that I actually didn't like him that much. I laughed. Who gave you such a thick face? When did I say I was coming to find you? Lucar clearly didn't expect me to dare to speak to him like that. In his eyes, I was no different from a lovesick fool obediently listening. His face was red with anger, and he was so angry that he couldn't speak. The people around stopped and looked at each other in surprise, as if they didn't believe I dared to fight back like that. I knew Lucar was very embarrassed. He pointed at me, gritting his teeth. You're good, Tronkankan, don't come to find me anymore, and don't follow Keet Kiet to take extra classes with me on the weekends. After Lucar finished speaking, he turned around and left, not even looking back. He probably thought I would buy a gift to apologize tomorrow. Unfortunately, he guessed wrong. I would never do that again. At this moment, a male student who had been sitting in the yard all this time stood up and walked towards me. It was Ko Min, my classmate, also a playboy, a bad student like me, who often changed his notebook. But the difference was that I remembered in his previous life he went abroad to study and then returned to China, becoming a tycoon in the business world in one step, while my family was ruined. Guming looked at me and sneered. Not bad, Zhang Qingqing, you have some ability today. You didn't embarrass us rich people. That's right, before I was like a little dog licking someone's feet being laughed at by the rich kids all the time. I snorted coldly, from now on it will always be like this. Ha, finally enlightened, so it can still be saved. I rolled my eyes. I'm sure you and I are very close. Mind your own business. After saying that, I turned and left the gym. Studying seriously was really a big challenge. After school, I went home early. For the first time, I didn't follow Luke Carr around like a tail like before. Mum and Dad. I'm home. Dad was sitting in the living room reading the newspaper. Mum was busy cooking in the kitchen. The feeling of having someone waiting for me at home was really warm. That made me even more determined to study hard to prevent any tragedy from happening in the next 10 years. Oh, Kan came home early today, my child. Mum poked her head out from the kitchen. I replied, I want to come home early and I'll do the same in the future. Your parents are going to your room to study. You don't need to call me during dinner. In the living room, my parents looked at each other, their faces full of confusion. Something was wrong with my daughter today. When I got back to my room, I took out my textbooks to study, but unfortunately I didn't understand anything, so I had to start by memorizing. But how should I memorize every word? Every line was dry and difficult to understand. Oh my God, I'm so tired. So with a pile of books piled high in my head, I fell asleep until the next morning. It had been a long time since I had such a good night's sleep. After my parents passed away, I had to shoulder all the burdens of the house, sleeping only 3 or 4 hours a day, but in the end, the company still went bankrupt. It was really great to be alive again. Mum had prepared breakfast, but neither Dad nor I had time to eat, so we packed it up and took it with us. Before leaving home, I hugged Mum tightly and kissed her on the cheek before leaving. I really missed them so much. Dad took me all the way to the school gate. Right at that moment, I saw Chu Mong Kiet. Obviously, she had just seen me, or more precisely, she was staring at the car my dad was driving. Only then did I notice, oh, Dad bought a new car again. Sure enough, even after being reborn, Dad's preferences have not changed. After saying goodbye to Dad, I didn't even spare a glance at Chu Mengji. She blushed, but still tried to keep her composure, quietly following behind. Jiang Qing Qing. I don't like that bag from the other day anymore, no need to buy it for me. Huh, I never said I would buy it for you, it's my birthday this weekend, just prepare a simple gift. I'll have a party at a restaurant you can come to. Oh my God, what's with that tone? It sounds like I have to go. I clearly remember in my previous life I also went to her birthday party. Not only did I prepare a decent gift, but in the end I paid for the food and entertainment. Gia Restaurant is not a place where high school students can spend money casually a meal. Their cost tens of thousands. She was angry with me because of this. Before I waited for me to take the initiative to make peace, but now I have to worry about how to make me obediently come and pay. I rolled my eyes and thought quickly, then slightly raised my lips, pretending to smile. Okay, remember to send me your room number when the time comes, I will come over. Hearing my confident answer, Chu Mongkit breathed a sigh of relief. She quickly restored her cold goddess demeanor, didn't say anything more, and went straight to class. I didn't want to pay attention to her. Instead of paying attention to others, I should spend time thinking about how I should study. This was really a big problem that needed serious consideration. Right at that moment, the history teacher walked into the classroom. He was a middle-aged man, bald and a bit fat-looking like a Maitreya Buddha statue, always smiling cute in a silly way. His teaching style was very lively, always relating history to reality, telling all kinds of side stories, so the class was never boring. Even though I wasn't very studious in my previous life, I could still hear his class. And he often called my name to speak, always smiling and calling me to stand up. However, my history score was just enough for a 6 because the essay was so long that I was bored. But this time we met again, I felt he was so close and familiar. Oh, everyone seemed very awake today. The teacher took a sip of water and joked. Seeing the whole class still absent-minded, he continued laughing. Even Trong Kan Kan didn't doze off, but listened attentively. The whole class must be in high spirits. Ha ha! The whole class burst out laughing. I didn't pay any attention. Actually, my reputation for dozing off in class was famous throughout the grade. All the teachers knew, but they didn't bother to remind me because I was the one who put money into the school to get in. Okay, let's start studying. Today we'll talk about the Industrial Revolution. Today I listened more attentively than ever, my eyes never leaving the history teacher, engrossed in listening to him talk about exciting historical periods. I didn't expect a class to pass by so quickly that I was surprised. I basically remembered all the knowledge points he taught in class. The students around me kept staring at me as if they couldn't believe it. Only Chu Mongkiet's eyes were still full of contempt and sarcasm. With that kind of brain, Trong Kan Kan, can she remember after listening once she sneered? I just shrugged and didn't respond. After that, I continued to listen seriously throughout the class. With social subjects like politics or literature, I basically just needed to listen once to grasp the main points. But when it came to math and English, having to both brainstorm and memorize really gave me a headache. Anyway, I had neglected it since the beginning of 10th grade. The amount of knowledge gaps was too large. It was impossible to learn it all in just 1 or 2 periods. I had to temporarily focus on understanding the current content first and stay up all night to make up for the rest when I got home. So that night when I got home, I started looking for 10th and 11th grade books to study again. But then I suddenly remembered that before, at the end of the semester, I would complain that the books were heavy and give them all to the school janitor, not even leaving a single blank sheet of paper. So I sat down at the computer and ordered all the 10th and 11th grade textbooks, along with reference books for exam preparation and all, determined to study hard again. After finishing all that, I continued to open my 12th grade books to continue studying. Once again, I was immersed in the sea of books. Time passed quickly, and it was already the weekend. Early in the morning, Chu Mong Kiet called me. Only then did I remember that today was her birthday. I heard that this year's birthday party couldn't get a table at Gia Restaurant, so she borrowed my VIP membership card to book a private room. Gia Restaurant usually requires reservations long in advance, otherwise they will be full, only high-class VIP rooms are left. I still clearly remember Chu Mongkiet's happy face when he booked a room and boldly invited the whole class to the party. At that time, I was half asleep and was awakened by the call, so I was in an extremely bad mood and answered vaguely, "I have something to do, so I can't go." Then I turned off the phone and continued sleeping. It was really annoying. She had already achieved her goal, so she didn't care whether I came or not. When I woke up, it was already past 1 p.m. From my previous life until now, it had been a long time since I had such a good night's sleep. Before going to sleep to avoid being disturbed, I turned off my phone. When I turned it on, I saw hundreds of messages and dozens of missed calls. All were from Chu Mong Kiet. I curled my lips and smiled coldly. I knew what had happened. Suddenly, an unknown number called. "Hello, is this Ms. Truong Kang Kan? I am an employee of Gia Restaurant." "Yes, I heard this. Currently, your membership card has no money in the account. There is a female guest who said she is your friend and wants to pay for the party with your card. May I ask if this is with your permission? Do you want to use my card to make a debit? I'm sorry I lost that card a long time ago. If anyone uses it, please ask them to provide identification documents to confirm. Yes, sorry for bothering you." After hanging up, I opened WeChat. A series of messages from Chu Mong Kiet caught my eye. She asked me to transfer 10,000 yuan to her and even scolded me for cheating her, giving her an expired VIP card. She wanted to act classy and build an image of a young, studious lady. What does it have to do with me? Invited the whole class to eat, not to mention inviting a few people from the weekend study group, totaling more than 30 people. With Chu Mongkiet's ostentatious personality, he must have thought that my VIP card had a lot of money left, so he ordered fancy food without thinking, spending like water with no intention of saving. I knew clearly that the VIP room at the restaurant cost more than 1,000 for just one table. And as far as I could remember, Chu Mongkiet's parents' total monthly salary was only around 2,000 to 3,000. Now that was good. I wondered how she would end this heavenly birthday party. I quietly switched my phone to silent mode, not bothering to read the messages or answer Chu Mongkiet's calls anymore. Then changed clothes, put on a black baseball cap, put on a mask, and decided to go to the restaurant to watch the fun. When I arrived, I saw that most of the group had almost left. They must have realized that something was wrong. It seemed that Chu Mengji said that the card was lost and asked everyone to split the money to pay. So everyone made an excuse that they had something to do at home and withdrew one by one. After all, most of them were just ordinary students, so of course they couldn't take out a bunch of money. Only a few girls who were close to Chu Mengjie stayed behind. Some even actually took out their savings to help her out with a few thousand. But it still wasn't enough to pay the huge bill. In the end, Chu Mengji secretly hid in the bathroom, called Luke Ka to borrow a few thousand, then called his parents to talk about going to a talent class, buying some materials, and swindled out a few thousand more. Adding the money I had previously extorted from me, I finally managed to pay the bill reluctantly. This time I was truly living in debt. On Monday morning, as soon as I arrived at school, I was stopped by Chu Mengji at the edge of the gym. She had a sullen face, but pretended to be aggrieved, crying and blaming me. As if I had done something terrible to her, Zhang Qing Qing. "How could you treat me like this? Are you shameless? Are you having fun deliberately playing tricks on me? Are you satisfied seeing me lose face? A guy accusing me made me freeze." She organized her own birthday, chose the location herself, and even invited the whole class to a fancy meal. What does it have to do with me? Chu Mengji was originally the school's famous goddess of learning, attracting attention every time she appeared. Now she was crying and complaining in the middle of the gym, so everyone who passed by looked at me with hatred and contempt. She was clearly acting on purpose. Before I could say anything, Luca ran over, pointed at me, and shouted loudly, "Jiang Qing Qing, why are you bullying Meng Jie again? What do you mean again? When did I bully her? I told you I won't like you. Don't make things difficult for Meng Jie anymore. I like her, it's not her fault. We're reenacting the same old drama. You two are really shameless to the extreme. Fine. I don't like you either, and I didn't bully her. She forced me to transfer money, forced me to treat her to a meal, forced me to buy expensive gifts. I wish you 200 years of happiness stay together forever." I also shouted my voice not small. Zhu Mengji and Lu Ka were stunned by my shout and quickly disappeared from the crowd. Jiang Qingqing. I'm no longer the little girl who was bullied and didn't dare to speak, like in my previous life. When we got back to class, Zhu Mengjie deliberately spoke loudly. "Zhang Kankan, why did you become like this? It's just because I didn't take you to extra classes with Lu Ka last week. What do I become like this for? I just stopped flattering her." As soon as she finished speaking, the whole class immediately turned to look at me with displeased eyes. It was as if I had really done something wrong. Hey, have you guys forgotten about the weekend? There were also a few people in the class who looked at me like they were watching a play such as Ko Min. I returned to my seat, no one said a word to anyone. The homeroom teacher walked into the classroom holding a stack of books to check. He was the class's math teacher, nicknamed Beef-Flavored Seaweed, because his smell always came to him. "Cough, cough, you guys take your books out to the hallway, today is the midterm exam." Oh my God, after the exam there's a parent-teacher meeting. It's so annoying. I can only rely on the vague memories of my previous life. But actually it was nothing, just do it recklessly. Which class would take the exam in which room was arranged based on the previous exam score. With my results, I definitely wouldn't be in the same room as Chumong Kiet. I was assigned to the exam room for the group of 30 people at the bottom of the grade. When Chu Monkit passed by, she gave a half smile full of disdain and satisfaction. Humph! She only had the title of being the top student in the grade to show off. Trong Han Kan was fine. She patted my shoulder lightly while pretending to be innocent. Just looking at her made me want to vomit. I immediately brushed my hands off, pretending to have been touched by something dirty. The people around immediately gathered around, whispering, "Mong Kiet, don't pay any attention to her. She only relied on her family's money and connections to get here. Her brain is full of tofu. You're the real goddess of learning. Oh, I can still hear you clearly." Well, I only had a few dirty coins to console myself. A moment later, I was assigned to the last exam room, in the second to last seat. Yes, I was second from the bottom in the entire grade. Sitting in the last seat was Ko Min. He was sprawled out on the table, listlessly looking as if he didn't care about the exam at all. Just looking at him was enough to see that it was affecting my spirit badly. The whole class sat down seriously. Let's start handing out the exam papers. The first exam didn't change, it was still literature. I did poorly on the multiple choice reading comprehension section. I was really stumped with old literature. Then quickly came the part I hated the most. Writing. Oh my God, writing too many words. It was both annoying and tiring. Just looking at it made my brain explode. The topic this time was about the world of science in your eyes, or imagining the development of technology in the future. Actually, this topic was quite friendly to me. After all, I was a person who had travelled back 10 years in the future. So I wrote about my childhood dreams, online learning without going to school, how modern medicine is developed, and many other technologies. It was very difficult to squeeze out 800 words. But when I glanced back, I saw that the person sitting behind me still hadn't written a single line. I shook my head helplessly, but thinking back, he would be a big brother in the business world. In the future, what could I compare him to? I should still study obediently. After several consecutive exams, except for math, I did pretty well in most of them, which was a big step forward. After all, I was no different from Guming before just leaving papers to be filled. 2 days later, I got my score. My total score was 362, still as bad as ever. The social sciences literature, jurisprudence, geography and politics block got 174 points, almost past the expected year. Literature unexpectedly got 87, and the writing part alone got 50 points, only 3 points behind Chu Mong Kiet. As for math and English, it was miserable. Math got 39, English 62. Oh my God, how can I turn things around? What about Chu Mong Kiet? Still first place in Block 632 points, a difference of nearly 300 points. Trong Kan, you've been working so hard lately, but you only got 362 points. Mong Kiet, do you know what fake effort is? It's just self-deception. Ha ha ha. The laughter around continued to ring out. Chu Mengji approached his voice full of arrogance. Zhang Qingqing, as long as you apologize to me, I will consider letting you continue to study with Luke Ka. But your brain is too bad, I will probably charge you a fee. I will charge you 200 yuan per session as a discount for being a classmate. With your score, you want to charge me 200 yuan per session. Chu Mengjie widened his eyes in disbelief. The people around immediately joined in. Mengjie, leave her alone. How long have you studied with her, and have you seen any progress? And she is ungrateful. How long have you been studying for free, and now you turn around and play dirty? Ungrateful, I have invited them to eat and give gifts many times, spending tens of millions each month. Now you are asking me to eat for free. How shameless, I smiled. Mengjie, the TF lipstick and the Hermes bag I bought last time. Remember to return it to me later. I forgot to bring it back that day. It was a gift you gave me. I never said I gave it to you. I just bought it and left it with you. I never said it was a gift. Chu Mongkiet was speechless and couldn't argue. It's true that I never said I gave anything, they just thought it was a gift, but now I want it all back. The atmosphere around immediately became gloomy. Everyone was silent, not daring to say anything more. Right at that moment, the homeroom teacher spoke up to remind me, tomorrow there will be a parent-teacher meeting to analyse the scores. I'm having a headache again. The head teacher called me and my parents to the office. Before I even entered, I heard a woman's shrill scream in the room. Head teacher, you must change my child's seat. She got 650 points last time and 632 this time. How can she get into Peking University with such a serious decline? My mother was furious when she heard that and immediately pulled me in. The woman didn't lower her voice when she saw us enter, still speaking loudly as if she was the only one there. Teacher, you must change my daughter Mengjie's seat. With such a score, she's dead. Peking University is her dream. The head teacher smiled awkwardly. Not really. Each test has a different difficulty level. After all, Chu Mengji is still the top student in the class. Don't worry too much. Before the head teacher could finish his sentence, Chu Mengji's mother turned to me and growled. Letters, definitely influenced by others. My daughter is such a good student. Her deskmate must be good too. Look at that bad student. Only got 39 points in math, total score is 362. If this continues, who will be responsible if it affects my daughter? My mother could not bear such unreasonable talk and immediately counterattacked. Oh, what kind of unreasonable parent are you? The teacher said it was because the exam was difficult. Why do you keep targeting my daughter? If your daughter did poorly, go check it yourself. What does it have to do with my daughter? My daughter's score increased by more than 100 points. I was still proud of her. Wasn't it because she took extra classes with my daughter that her score increased? If not, why did my daughter decline while she improved? Teacher, I don't care. Either change seats or expel this girl from the class. The homeroom teacher tried to explain. Parents, the seats are arranged by the school to pair strong and weak students to complement each other. Change must change. My daughter cannot bear this grievance. What if she really fails the exam and is blamed by that girl for the rest of her life? I thought to myself. She was right in my previous life. She really blamed me for my whole life. In the end, I also changed seats. The homeroom teacher told me to choose my own seat, but the whole class avoided me like an evil spirit. No one wanted to sit near me. Only the empty seat next to Gu Ming was left. After all, the two of us were the type of poor, unpopular rich kids. So the two most hated and despised kids in the class became desk mates. Desk mates who wanted to be taught. Gu Ming greeted me in a joking tone. I really didn't want to respond at all. Then the homeroom teacher walked into the classroom and stood in front of the whole class to praise me. Zhang Qingqing has made remarkable progress recently and is no longer in the bottom group. I hope you continue to work hard. From the time I was little until now, I have never been praised like this. It felt strange, but also very happy. Hey Zhang Qingqing, why did you suddenly change so much? Gu Ming suddenly asked. I was very impatient with him, but thinking about it, he would be a business tycoon in the future, so I shouldn't offend him. So I forced a smile, just wanting to change the game, wanting to know what it felt like to be beautiful, rich, and good at studying. He nodded, raised his thumb, and replied concisely, then fell back on the table and continued sleeping. At this moment, I felt a gloomy and angry gaze shooting straight at me. Then that gaze turned into a contemptuous smile. Chu Mongkiet moved his lips slightly as if he was whispering, Trong you won't be able to surpass me in this life. That's not certain. For the first time in my life, I held a math test and walked into the teacher's office. The teachers in the room were all looking at me in shock, extremely surprised. It was only natural because my math was terrible. No matter how hard I tried, I couldn't understand those types of questions. Teacher, I still don't understand these questions very well. Teacher, can you explain it to me again? The math teacher was stunned for a moment, but still patiently explained it to me again. He even intentionally incorporated knowledge from previous years to help me understand more deeply. After listening, I understood most of it. Trong, do you understand everything? Thank you, teacher. I understand. I've improved a lot recently. Keep trying. If you don't understand anything, just come and ask the teacher. I started to proactively ask all the subjects I was weak at. Even if you were good at studying for 2 hours, as long as you asked, the teachers would enthusiastically answer. Thanks to that, I felt less pressured in my studies. That day was math class. The teacher was teaching a type of problem I had seen in the review book. I had asked the teacher about this type before, so when he wanted to test the class, he didn't hesitate to call my name to the board. Chu Mong Kiet, what were you thinking? You haven't even finished this problem yet. Why did you let Trong come up to solve it? Who knows, maybe she did it. So what? The teacher must have called her up to embarrass her, right? Ha ha ha. They thought they were whispering, but I heard everything. I took a deep breath, calmed down, and stepped up to the board. The key to this problem was to prove that each pair of lines were perpendicular, then construct the coordinate axis of space. First connect points A and E, and prove that these two lines are perpendicular to each other. About 10 minutes later, I finished writing the solution. The teacher smiled. Very good, Trong. The solution was very accurate. The whole class applauded and cheered for each student. I finally breathed a sigh of relief. Looking down at the class, Chu Mongkiet's face was so angry that it turned grey. For the past few weeks, I had been diligently studying at night, doing all kinds of questions, practicing all kinds of exercises. As for Chu Mongkiet, she thought that I would never be able to surpass her, so she started to act arrogant and boldly declared, even if I don't study or go to extra classes, you will never catch up with me. See, this is the consequence of being too confident. Her friends around her still comforted her. Mengjie, don't think too much. How can she compare to you? She's probably just a blind cat catching a fried fish. Besides, she always comes to the office to ask for homework. The teacher must have explained this problem to her privately. You're still the best, no one can replace you. Hearing that Chu Mengjie also breathed a sigh of relief, then walked in front of me. Zhang Qingqing, don't think that just because you're lucky a few times, you can dream of surpassing me. No way I won't let you have that chance. I really don't understand her. I study to pass the Peking University entrance exam, not to compete with her. I gradually reduced the time I spent outside, and I no longer skipped school like before. I diligently asked for homework every day, which made the teacher's views of me change significantly. On the contrary, Chu Mengji often asked for leave from school, but because her grades were good, the homeroom teacher always easily agreed. Who knows what she's up to behind the scenes? Komin was still lying on the table as usual while I was diligently solving the math problem. Suddenly he tilted his head and said, "Hey, stop thinking about it. That question is C." I frowned and glared at him, then looked at answer C and tried to substitute it into the expression. Oh my God, that's true. I thought this guy was even worse than me. He must have guessed randomly, so I didn't pay any attention to him anymore. But it seemed like he was very free because he started mumbling the answers to the rest of the series. I turned to look at him in annoyance. "You're too free, aren't you?" He shrugged and then nodded his head and went back to sleep. But then something strange happened. When I checked the answers, I discovered that all the questions he said were correct. If he only got 2 or 3 questions right, it would be considered lucky. Except for getting 11 questions right in a row, it couldn't be a coincidence. A doubt suddenly arose in my heart. Wasn't this guy pretending to be stupid? Pretending to be stupid? So I took out the extremely difficult questions that I had asked my teachers, all of which were the types that my teachers said were university level or gifted student exams. He took them, flipped through them a few times, swish, 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 swish. After finishing them all, I took them out to compare the correct answers. I looked at him with disbelief. Hey, don't look at me like that. I don't have anything on my face." How did you know the answer just by looking at it? If you don't know easy questions like this, you're a pig. I knew he was insinuating that he was cursing me. I coughed lightly. "Cough, how about we make a deal? I don't accept students. If you don't teach me, I'll tell everyone that you're pretending to be stupid." He smirked. "Oh, miss, who would believe you? Besides, I didn't say I didn't know how to do it. I just didn't want to do it." Don't scare me. I began to understand why he could become a business tycoon in the future. "If you want me to teach you, you have to agree to one condition." I stared at him warily. "What condition?" "Rest assured it absolutely does not violate the rules." "Okay, tell me." I haven't thought of it yet. I'll tell you when I do. After school, come to the rooftop of Block A to meet me." After saying that, he nodded and continued to sleep. After school, I ran straight to the rooftop of Block A. Sure enough, Guming was there early. Next to him was a small table, a mini blackboard, and a lot of books. This was his secret study base. "He's here. Sit down." After that, Guming started teaching me from grade 10. Knowledge onwards. This guy is not only good at math, he also has a good grasp of other subjects. He's clearly the type of person who pretends to be stupid to scare people. I thought he was a bad student, but it turned out he was just an anonymous bully who was manipulating his own grades. What were you thinking? A piece of chalk flew straight into my head. I grimaced in pain and gritted my teeth. Guming sat next to me and sneered. "If you don't listen, then don't listen. Listen, listen." He taught me for more than an hour, and then each of us went home. Before I left, he seriously assigned homework, another night of staying up late to study. The next day in class, Guming was still lying on the table sleeping. As soon as he heard me, he didn't even look up, just raised his hand behind him. "Where's yesterday's homework? Let me check it." I gave him an unhappy glance and threw the paper to him. So I studied in class during the day and asked the teacher for answers. After class, Guming taught me more and continued to review at home. This process lasted more than 20 days. And then the second midterm exam came. I had a lot of confidence to check my study results this time. 482 points increased by more than 100 points. During those 20 days, I almost never saw Chu Mongkiet come to school. She kept asking for sick leave, but when the exam came, she appeared again. I heard that she was coming back to crush me. She got 602 points, dropping to M in the whole grade. Still higher than me, but I didn't care anymore. Whatever happened to her had nothing to do with me. After the exam, Chu Mongkiet's parents were called again, but this time it wasn't her mother, but another woman. She was scolded to the point that she didn't dare to open her mouth. In the third midterm exam, my score started to stabilize at 500. In the semester exam, I got 550 points, entering the top 100 in the whole grade, and was continuously praised, rewarded, and encouraged. As for Chu Mongkiet, she didn't participate in the exam, and I didn't care about the reason. That winter break was really great. I played for a few days, but soon became eager to return to studying. Every time my score increased, the feeling of satisfaction was indescribable. After TET, I started calling Gu Ming every day to pull him out to study. Whether he was sleeping or not, I still dragged him out sometimes, even going to his house to force him to go. Because of that, there was a time when he avoided me whenever he saw me. But studying together continued regularly. It was just that until now, he still refused to tell me the exchange conditions he had mentioned. My school opened a new semester a week early, and I finally met Chu Mongkiet. Again after a long absence. She was skinny, her face was haggard, but her eyes were still filled with hatred, as if I owed her hundreds of millions. I was still the same as last semester, burying my head in my studies. The sneering and contemptuous words around me also lessened. Anyway, I never cared what they thought, it was just that suddenly many friends started asking questions, which made me a little uncomfortable. It felt like I was inspiring the whole class, everyone was more diligent, so I didn't dare to be careless. Although Chu Mongkiet had returned, the situation was still the same as last semester, sometimes there, sometimes not. Sometimes she asked for leave. No matter how good she was at studying the homeroom, teachers started to feel uncomfortable. Once again, the teacher invited the parents. After that session, Chu Mongkiet obediently stayed at school for a few weeks and then disappeared again. This time, the homeroom teacher didn't care. After all, studying in high school was voluntary, and as for me, my scores kept improving. Finally, in the last midterm exam before the university entrance exam, I scored 607 points, officially entering the top 10 of the whole grade, only one step away from my dream. What about Komin still handing in blank papers in every subject? I asked why he just waved his hand, don't ask about the boss's working style. I didn't ask anymore. I was busy rejoicing that I had made it into the top 10 of the school. There was still a month left until the college entrance exam. I could only continue to move forward continuously, practicing, giving my all. Even if I only slept 4 hours a day, I had to try my best to the end. My parents loved me and told me not to push myself too hard. They said that with the family's conditions, if I didn't study, I would live well for the rest of my life. But I knew that once they saw me studying well, they were also very proud and happy. Finally, the day before the college entrance exam arrived, I was still quietly sitting in class reviewing while Gu Ming was still lying on the table sleeping like always. I couldn't help but ask, "Are you really not going to take the college entrance exam?" Actually, this question was quite redundant because I knew his ending, he would study abroad and become a business tycoon, but I still couldn't help but want to ask. Gu Ming adjusted his sleeping position depending on his mood, hearing that I didn't ask any more questions, and continued to focus on the exam. "Do your best, Zhang Qingqing." Zhou Mengjie finally returned to take the exam, but she no longer felt like a student, as if she had been separated from school for a long time. When I finished the last exam, I felt empty but full of confidence. My parents held a big bouquet of flowers and walked around the exam area to look for me, but I couldn't find Gu Ming anywhere. Maybe he had already started preparing to go abroad. I don't know why, but a strange feeling arose in my heart. The day I checked my exam results, I sat alone in the room. My parents stood outside the door, not daring to enter. I slowly entered my name registration number and ID number. 667 points. I got 667 points. My scream made my parents rush in immediately. How are you, Cancan? It's okay. Even if you fail, it's okay, Mom and Dad. You got 667 points. 667. Oh my God, our ancestors have blessed our daughter. Cancan is so good. So my parents happily called everywhere to show off. My phone kept receiving messages of lucky money transfers. My father also said that we had to hold a grand party for 3 days and 3 nights. I texted Gu Ming, even though I wasn't sure if he was going to take the exam, but he had helped me for a long time anyway, so there was nothing wrong with asking. The result was that he sent me a screenshot of his 702 points. The top student in the social sciences in the province. People compared to people are so infuriating. Are you even thinking about going abroad? The other side paused for a few seconds. How did you know I was going abroad? Oh, just a random guess. In his previous life, Gu Ming didn't take the university entrance exam, but chose to study abroad, and no one knew how great he was. A few days later, the school held a farewell ceremony for the senior students. All the teachers came, including Gu Ming. We all participated together. In the class, besides the few students preparing to study abroad, only Zhou Mengjie didn't show up. While chatting with the teachers, I also heard a few stories from my friends. I heard that Zhou Mengjie only got over 400 points, so much so that he didn't even have enough points to get into a private school. The reason was that her parents divorced her mother, remarried, and her father also remarried. Neither side wanted to support her. She lived with her father but was treated very badly by her stepmother. Then her stepmother got pregnant, her father became addicted to gambling, and the family fell into debt. She also borrowed money from outside, had to work part-time to make a living, and as a result, her studies declined. I thought about why I had never heard of these things in my previous life. Maybe because I always gave her money back then, so she never had to bear such family pressure. Anyway, I don't want to interfere anymore. She has nothing to do with me. Luke Carr came to me a few times. I thought he was deeply in love with Chu Mongkiet, but unexpectedly he turned around and said that he had wrongly blamed me before and now wanted to pursue me again. Please forgive me, I have good grades and a good family background. Why should I like someone like him? After filling out my application, I was accepted into the management school of Peking University, and I also enrolled in English. My happy university life began from here. Before I filled out my application, Gu Ming told me the condition he had mentioned, on the rooftop where we had studied together for several months. Before I could open my mouth, Gu Ming spoke first. Zhang Qingqing, I like you. Don't refuse me yet. Let me finish. I have liked you for a long time since 10th grade. I even dropped out of class and switched to the social studies department because of you. But you were really stupid chasing after the top student in the class all day long, and even chasing after Zhou Mengjie. At that time, I thought if I were the top student in the natural science department, would you like me? But in the end, I just wanted to get closer to you. And as expected, throughout the entire 11th grade, you completely ignored my existence. Finally, in 12th grade, a new opportunity came. Zhang Qingqing, I really, really like you. Before he could finish, I rushed over and hugged him. I also kind of liked you a little. Gu Ming was like a child who didn't know what to do, so happy that he was completely stunned. Then I asked him why he always pretended to be a bad student. He replied, I just want to go against my family. I don't want to live the path they've set for me. That's right, what was the reason he went abroad in his previous life. I suddenly remembered before filling out my application, I received a text message asking which school I wanted to choose. I casually replied that I was going abroad. Thank God for letting me live again to start over with Gu Ming and my family by my side. It turned out that there were signs of everything from the beginning. Thank you for listening to the story at Ken Stories. I hope you have relaxing and fun moments. Don't forget to give me a like and subscribe so I have more motivation to make more videos.